Today we're in downtown Atlanta talking with William Pate, head of the Atlanta Convention Visitors Bureau. We're going to hear how the cancellation of the Final Four and 29 other major events had a $10 billion impact on the local economy. We all know how important conventions are to our hotels and restaurants that are near and dear to our heart. So I wanted to talk to William to find out his opinion of how the 2021 calendar is looking, to hear how quickly he thinks we're going to come out of this. Thanks for joining.
Hey, William, thank you for joining me. Another fun edition of Teague Talks. I'm excited for you to be here. Somebody new and different within our industry, but not one of our close friends.
Well, I'm really excited to be here. I always like to talk about the industry. I wish it was a lot better news to deliver.
Well, let's find out. I mean, I think that's part of what we all need to know. We need stats and data, and I think you're a perfect one. So before we dive in, William Pate, head of the Atlanta Convention Visitors Bureau. And obviously, I want to find out what the pipeline looks like going forward, what the cancellations have meant to the city, and hopefully everybody can sort of extrapolate that out to with their own city or town or et cetera. And then we obviously want to know what your prediction is for when the convention world is going to come back because of how it affects our industry.
Absolutely.
But before I dive into that, I like to get into who people are and what their background is and what is the head of the Atlanta Convention Visitors Bureau's job. So how'd you get into this crazy business that we're in?
Well, most of my career was I was the chief marketing officer for a large corporation here in Atlanta. That company was bought. I had chaired the bureau of ACVB back in 2001, right around the time of September 11th. So my timing's always been really good because I took the job in September 8th. It's September of 2008 when all hope was lost after the financial crisis. So I always seem to be getting into the industry just when all the business has evaporated. But it's been great, and it's been a great opportunity to use those kind of corporate techniques in this business. And we run the CVV very much like a business. I report to a private board, although we do get hotel, motel tax money. But our job is basically to get more people here tomorrow than were here yesterday. It's all about building volume because when we have large numbers of people in the city, everybody benefits. The hotels, the restaurants, the attractions, all the people that serve that business. Everybody does really well. So for us, it's all about building volume. And we do that through tourism, through business travel, and then, of course, convention business.
So you and your colleagues across the country have your work cut out for you right now. That is for sure. So back me up. Give me what I call your COVID timeline. I mean, you were right in the heart of it, right, as were we. But take me back. When did you first know that there might be an issue? How long do you think it was going to last? How'd you react?
Sure. Well, we started 2020 and it was set up to be a fantastic year. We had 39 major citywide conventions booked in the city. We were going to be hosting the NCAA Men's Final Four Basketball Championship. 8 of those 39 conventions came to Atlanta. We hosted those. And then right at the time of the Men's Final Four Championship is when the real impact of COVID started to hit. And unfortunately, they had to cancel that championship. As you'll remember, that was a $100 million piece of business to the city. And we've had one convention since the middle of March.
So we had 39 on the books, 8 showed up, and we've had one. So 30 have canceled.
Oh, we've got, so 29 canceled.
Yeah, 29.
And we've got the SEC football championship and the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl are still on the calendar through the end of the year. We're hoping and expecting that both will be played. The big question will be, will fans be allowed in the stands? Because if we don't get the fans from out of town here, then obviously we don't get the full economic impact of the event.
What is the economic impact, given what was the budget for 2020? The economic impact supposed to be?
Well, it's a $16 billion industry in Atlanta. We've lost basically 60% of our revenue generation. So, it's about a $10 billion loss if you just kind of extrapolate it with the easy math. It's a significant impact on the city. The challenge is Hospitality, one of the reasons why it's one of the largest industries in almost every city in the world is because of the scale. When you get lots of visitors in town and you think about all the transactions that they're involved with when they're in your city, you see how it quickly ramps up and how the economic impact grows. Conversely, when you don't have anyone in your city that's visiting, it really, starts with, of course, the hotel stays, nobody's in the restaurants, it affects the cabs, the Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, all the folks the businesses that support the conventions while they're in town. It really just has a huge ripple effect. And that's why in the hospitality industry, you've seen such a devastating impact from COVID.
So dare I ask, what does next year look like? I mean, when are we going to get out of this thing? Or do we got to just keep our head down forever?
Well, I think the key is going to be having a vaccine or a significant medical breakthrough that really limits the morbidity of the virus. I can assure you in your lifetime, hotel rooms and airline seats have never been cleaner. And yet, even with that, people are still nervous about traveling. And so it's really just a matter of trust. So as we go into 2021, we've got 30 major citywides on the calendar. We're hoping that will stay intact. It's going to be spotty in the first quarter as conventions look to see if attendees are going to feel comfortable coming. We're hoping that we'll be able to service several of those conventions in the first quarter. And then I think as the year goes on, things will continue to grow and ramp up. Attendance is going to be light in the first few conventions. That's going to take time to build as well. But most of the economists in our industry believe that by June, things are really going to start to get back to some semblance of normalcy, where big convention cities like Atlanta are going to have meetings, every week or every other week, and we'll start to see sort of a rhythm. And, listening to Delta's earnings yesterday, I think they have a sense too that business is really going to start coming back significantly in the middle of next year.
So talk about that. We all know where the industries are connected, the airline and the hospitality industry, but in your opinion, how connected are the airline and the hospitality industries?
Well, when you're a convention city, one of the first things that meeting planners want to know is how easy it is to get in and out of your city. Airlift is one of the most important things. And that's a place where Atlanta really benefits greatly. We have the largest airport in the world, the busiest airport in the world, and of course Delta that is headquartered here and flies all over the world. And so when we have conventions, they're obviously a major feeder for attendees to come into the city, not only nationally, but internationally as well. When we have really large citywides, 25 to 35% of the attendees are going to come from outside the United States. It's one of the advantages I think we're going to have when things start to turn around as Delta adds more capacity and more flights back into their system because Atlanta is the major hub. We're going to see a lot of benefit from that. And so it's going to be a little bit easier for meeting planners to get their attendees in and out of the city.
What is 2022, 2023, 24, what do those future events look like?
Well, the great news for Atlanta is our calendar looking out is very, very strong. We've got 22 to 23 citywides booked for major citywides most years out through 27, 28. So the future is very, very strong. It's just about bridging from today to getting to that future. And that's going to take a little bit of time. But once we get back and we get back to a kind of a regular rhythm and a sense of normalcy, Atlanta's going to recover very strong. That's why we sort of like and believe in Atlanta.
So, all right, but let's focus back on that 2021 because I'm nervous. You're saying everybody's kicking to the second half, which makes sense. But
well, not everybody, but we do have a lot of people that I think you've got conventions that weren't able to meet in 2020. And remember that for a lot of these organizations, that's one of their big revenue generators is having their convention. And so you really don't want to be in a situation where you have to miss 2 years in a row. So those that are in the first half of the year that are nervous, they want to know if there are options in the back half of the year. Now, we haven't seen a lot of movement yet, but I think, and it makes sense, people are trying to keep their options open. They want to be in Atlanta. They have a great experience when they're here. And so we're trying to provide accommodations, for everybody. But the hope and the belief is that, in the first quarter, we'll see some convention activity, and then that'll grow in the second quarter. And by the time we get to the third quarter, I think we're going to really see our momentum come back.
All right. So listen, one, it's hard to move big citywide conventions, right? Is this open dates and there's space and just coordination of all the people is not easy. And we know that because our conference, our little tiny conference is not easy to move either. It's time to find space. Tell me if we're dumb. We are head down. We are doing this. We are enthusiastically holding ours in March. So we're in the early part of the calendar next year. We're doing half virtual if they're not comfortable. If people aren't comfortable, come virtually. But if they want to come in person. We get a bunch of our attendees that are dying to come. And we're going to be as smart as we can and as safe as we can. But we're going to head down and do this thing. Somebody's got to go first. Am I crazy?
We're looking forward to hosting. Yeah, we're looking forward to hosting you, and we can't wait to have you in our city. What I would say is, again, it's just about people feeling comfortable. The dynamics of all of the cleaning procedures at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the cleaning procedures at our convention center, our hotels, our restaurants, we're adhering to all of the CDC mandates in terms of distancing and cleaning. And so the facilities are all ready to go. It's just about people getting comfortable traveling and people getting comfortable getting here. And once they get here, we have absolutely no doubt they're going to have a fantastic experience. I mentioned earlier, we had a convention that was here in August. It was probably around 20,000 attendees. And that experience went very smoothly. I think the attendees were very happy and had a really nice time while they were in the city. And so everything is ready to go. It's just all about people feeling, having the confidence to move forward with their meeting. And we're really excited that you've got that confidence.
What's the next big event that's on the calendar for 2020 in Atlanta that may or may not get canceled that we're holding our breath for?
Well, for 2020, it's the SEC Championship.
Okay.
It's scheduled for December 19th. Again, we've got everything in process to host that. The question will be really, will there be attendees? Will they allow people into the stadium? Now, of course, the Atlanta Falcons, at least at this point, and we're talking here in October, have begun to allow visitors into the stands. And that seems to be going very well. And so the hope is as we get through the end of the year here and the virus numbers continue to come down, that there might be an opportunity to have some fans in the stands at Mercedes-Benz for the SEC Championship. And that would be a great boost for our industry at the back half of the year.
Yeah. I mean, what's the economic impact of an SEC Championship for the city of Atlanta?
It's probably $70-80 million. So it's significant. And then you got the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl following that. And, that's another event that's, $70, $80, $90, $100 million event that happens over New Year's Eve weekend. Or New Year's Eve and the holidays. And so, it's one of the reasons why we love sporting events, because they tend to happen when we don't have other business. They're usually on the weekends or right around holidays. And when business people aren't traveling, and so they're almost always incremental to the portfolio. At this point, they're our last hope to host a significant number of people before the year ends.
So, and I think more than the economic impact is the psychological impact, right? We need to see fans in the stands. We need to see events happening. And yes, starting out at 10, 20% occupancy in these stadiums across the country is great. And we need to see that number grow, right? 40%, 50%. Eventually we'll get to 100%.
Well, as you said, you got to start. You got to start somewhere. And I was at an event last night and we were talking about flying. And I'm getting ready to make 3 flights. And when I have those flights, they're going to be great experiences, and I'm going to share those experiences with my friends, and then they're going to feel comfortable to fly, and then they're going to tell their friends, and it's going to kind of go from there. So folks just have to it's all about getting started, and people going, having a great experience, being safe and healthy, coming back, telling their friends, and then that's how we're going to begin to grow, the momentum back in the business.
So I talk a big game about, going first and being early, and, we're in the hospitality industry, so it feels an obligation to go, but I don't really want to go first. I mean, I'd love to see a full SEC stadium, a full Super Bowl, things like that, and then people will be comfortable getting out and traveling.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what you need, right? I mean, that's what you need is people to see other people traveling.
Right.
I really believe there's a significant pent-up demand for travel. People are tired of being in their basement, and they're ready to get outside, and they're ready to get back to traveling. And so I think once we finally get the all clear, I do believe the business is going to come back pretty quickly.
I'm hoping. All right, so let's keep talking future events. What other future events are scheduled to come to Atlanta? I think there's a Major League Baseball All-Star, something about a World Cup. Give me some of those other fun events.
So on the sporting side, we're hosting the Major League Baseball All-Star game next summer, which we're very excited about. We're also, in the mix to be one of the hosts for the 2026 World Cup. That was originally going to be announced this year. They pushed that back to 2021. And so, we're very hopeful that we're going to be one of the cities selected. We have such a fantastic stadium. We've had such a great soccer experience, here in Atlanta. So I think we're set up very nicely to hopefully get the opportunity to participate and be a host for the World Cup. And then kind of looking ahead, the NCAA will be bidding out the regionals for the men's basketball tournament for 23, 24, 25, and we're going to be in the mix on bidding on those, and hopefully we'll secure one of those events for 23, 24, 25, and kind of get us back into the college basketball game.
Did we just miss the Final Four? We don't get a quick do-over?
Well, the problem with a big championship like the Final Four is that, it books so far in advance because it typically is going to very large convention cities that have a large convention center and a large stadium. And so, as I just told you about our calendar, I mean, when you look at our calendar over the next 4 or 5 years, I mean, it's full. And so it's very hard to clear space. And so that's why they look so far ahead. So, we will likely host that championship again before the end of the decade. I believe that, we'll have the opportunity to do that. But it's going to be in an outer year where we still have space on the calendar and we can fit it in. It's just like this year, a lot of people, when they couldn't host the event, were hoping that, they could just move it back 3 weeks. But, by that point, we had a lot of business that was booked. It wasn't going to be easy. It's just not easy to move something like that back a few weeks. Now, as it turned out, everybody canceled, and, we didn't even have any convention activity to speak of since then. So other than that one convention that I mentioned. So it just, it's just one of those situations that really disappointing for everybody. They were looking forward to being here. They have a great experience when they're in Atlanta. Obviously, we were looking forward to hosting them and providing that great experience. But we have a great relationship with the NCAA, and we've hosted a lot of their championships here. And I believe as we move ahead, we'll get the opportunity to do that again.
Yeah, you guys do a great job. So, and you got great facilities and great people. So cheers to you and your team. Talk to me about the economic impact to certainly the ACBB, but the city of Atlanta, without full rooms, there's hotel motel taxes that are not being collected. There's other sales taxes and bars and restaurants that are not being collected. What's the impact to the city?
Well, I think you've seen that not only in the city, but the state. When you hear about the budget issues that the shortfall that the city's had, a lot of that is around hotel motel tax that just isn't collected because people aren't staying in the hotels. And then when you kind of take that statewide, you see the same situation. And so it's had a very difficult impact, again, not only on our businesses, but on the city as well as the state. And, one of the reasons why, we're working so hard to try and get back, even if it's just, some small victories moving, through the end of this year and the first part of next year, just to begin to get some more money flowing through the system. The business is at such a scale that, even the beginning of small meetings coming into the city would very quickly catch up and provide some much needed revenue into the system.
Do you think that will happen? You think it'll be small meetings first and then the meeting sizes will grow?
I think it probably will, because if you think about how the business works, conventions are usually booking 5 years out. They just don't have the flexibility. And when you look at corporations, small associations that are going to meet in one or two hotels, they have some flexibility. They can do that meeting with 6 months notice or a year notice. So I think those are probably going to happen quickly. I think the comeback is going to be first in leisure, and we've already seen some of that. People are beginning to travel a little bit more. We picked up almost 4 points of occupancy over the summer on leisure because we did some leisure marketing programs. Then you're going to see small meetings begin to come back. Companies are going to need to get their sales teams back out on the road. There are going to be new product introductions, things like that. Those are going to take meetings to get those things going. And then business travel, you'll probably see business travel come back in the first quarter of next year. And, it'll slowly grow. It's going to take some time, but when you're a corporation, you got to drive revenue, and you drive revenue, with sales and new products. And so I think we'll see that. And as all those things happen, and people are seeing other people traveling, then I think, conventions are going to be very comfortable and attendees are going to be comfortable coming to their conventions. And I think a lot of that will then gel right as we get kind of into the summer of 2021.
So it's interesting. You mentioned the leisure, which we all know, but I wouldn't think of downtown Atlanta, as a leisure destination. But we had a meeting at the Marriott Marquis last week with the management team, and I asked the question, how's business? And the response was, their weekends have been fantastic, thank you. And the weekdays has been small. In a 1,600 room, convention hotel, they were running 53% occupancy on the weekend, all with leisure traveler, because Georgia is open and people are driving to and staying at a downtown convention hotel for leisure business.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the great things about Atlanta is that we have 3 major interstates that crisscross in the middle of downtown. So a lot of people are driving. A lot of people are still vacationing. And so we did see some really nice pickup and have seen some really nice pickup. But just to put that in perspective, in March, we were running 80% daily occupancy in our hotels in downtown Midtown and Buckhead. And then, obviously COVID hit. In April, that was 10%. I mean, that's how quickly and how devastating the impact was. And so we've slowly been working our way back. In August, we were at 33%. And we'll probably finish the year, hopefully somewhere around 40% average. So when you think about the 80% we had at the beginning and what it's going to take to get to a 40% average, you kind of get a sense of, the impact that this has really had.
How does that compare to 2008, the year you first started?
When I started, we were 53%.
Okay.
That first year. So we've had about, and I think if I remember right, we had about 35 million visitors. In 2019, we had about 57 million visitors. So we've had about a 60% growth in kind of the last 10 or so years. And so we've really had, Atlanta has really done very well in the hospitality industry. Our business has really grown significantly. We have great facilities. We have all these fabulous new attractions that have come to the city and opened up over the last decade and provide great family experiences. So when you talk about the folks that are coming downtown on the weekends, they're going to the aquarium and they're going to, the World of Coca-Cola and the College Football Hall of Fame and all of the fabulous attractions that we have downtown, all of our cultural institutions. So there are a lot of things to do here, particularly for a leisure traveler. And that also helps on the business side because when conventioneers travel, you usually get at least one off night. And you want to go to a nice restaurant, you maybe want to, hit something that's kind of local to the city that you're in. And we have really over the last decade added so many features to the city that has really become a fantastic experience for business travelers as well as leisure visitors.
Well, you're right. We're fortunate. We have a fantastic city to live, work, play, and easy for you and your team to sell the city, I would think. Kudos to you and you guys, what you're doing. Keep selling hard. I think there's a lot of pent-up energy. I think people want to get out and travel, whether it's for work or for leisure or what have you. So I think hopefully 2021 and beyond will be maybe the back half will be busy years for you guys.
Well, I think you're right. And, the message I always try to leave with people is that we are going to get through this. And whether it starts first quarter next year, second quarter next year, we're going to begin to see this start to recover. And because there is a lot of pent-up interest in travel, I think when it begins to recover, it will begin to recover quickly. And I think as we get particularly to the end of 2021, I think we're really going to, see a return to kind of the normal business that we've gotten used to in the city. And not only in Atlanta, because this isn't an Atlanta issue, this is an issue, all around the country. And I think in general, everyone believes that the back half of 21 is going to signal the recovery in the hospitality industry across the country. And that will also feed on itself as well. So as we get people traveling, all over the country, we're going to see airlift come back. We're going to see people making multiple trips. You and I were talking earlier about the amount of travel that we were doing prior to March. I'm actually looking forward to getting back on an airplane, with regular frequency and getting back out and going out and talking to customers and prospects about coming to the city. So, it's been a tough 2020. It's going to be a tough couple of months as we get here to the end. But I really do believe that 2021 is going to provide the beginning of a substantial recovery for Atlanta. And we're doing everything we can to get it jump started.
William, I know you and your team. Thank you very much for all your work. Get out there and travel, carry the banner for the city and for the entire industry. And I mean that. We got to get started, right? I mean, boy, we got to get started.
Absolutely. Well, look, I appreciate being with you today. Again, I want everybody to know and tell the message that, the recovery is coming. And we're going to get I believe we'll get some medical breakthroughs against the virus here as we get through the end of the year. And that's going to be the signal to people to begin to return to their normal activities. And as that occurs throughout 2021, we're going to see people traveling and coming back to our city again.
God willing. All right. Thanks, William. I appreciate you joining me. We'll do our part.
Everybody. Great to be with you.
Thanks, William.